The New York Liberty came out at halftime and they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to press them on the inbounds, and as soon as they cross half court, we are going to trap them and force them to make quick decisions with the basketball.
Hold on to your seats, WNBA fans, because what we witnessed wasn't just a loss. It was an absolute masterclass in tactical humiliation right under the nose of the Indiana Fever. Forget the excuses about bad calls. This wasn't about the referees. This was about one team's sheer will to win and another's catastrophic failure to adapt. The New York Liberty, led by their relentless determination, didn't just play basketball. They taught the Fever a brutal lesson in strategic execution. They cranked up the pressure, forcing Indiana into a defensive nightmare. This wasn't just a game, it was a statement. The question isn't, how did the Fever lose? It's how badly were they outcoached? The second half began, and the Liberty unveiled their true intentions. This wasn't some minor adjustment. This was a strategic sledgehammer. They recognized the Fever's Achilles heel, ball handling under pressure, and they exploited it with surgical precision. The full-court press, the half-court traps, and all screamed one thing: we know your weaknesses, and we're coming for them. It was a calculated risk that paid off spectacularly, proving that basketball isn't just about raw talent, but about the chess match played between the benches. And in this particular game, the Liberty's coaching staff seemed to be playing checkers, while the Fever's was playing tic-tac-toe. How could a professional team be so utterly unprepared for a fundamental defensive scheme? The answer, as you'll soon discover, lies in the shocking decisions that followed. The Liberty's plan wasn't just about forcing turnovers. It was about systematically dismantling the Fever's confidence, play by play, until all that remained was a team struggling to even bring the ball across half-court. Was this a failure of player execution, or a deeper, more fundamental flaw in coaching philosophy? What shocking directive did the Fever's own coach issue that set the stage for this disaster?
And the quick decisions that Stephanie White came up with, the adjustment that Stephanie White had, take the ball out of your best ball handler's hand. Let other people try to bring the ball up when we're getting pressed. Let other people try to make smart choices with the basketball while we're getting trapped.
This is where the plot thickens, folks. Stephanie White's adjustment wasn't just questionable, it was downright bewildering. Instead of empowering her best ball handler, Caitlin Clark, to navigate the Liberty's pressure, she actively stripped Clark of her primary responsibility. The directive was clear: let other players, less experienced, less confident under intense pressure, try to bring the ball up. This isn't just a misstep, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of how to leverage your superstar. It sent a clear message: we don't trust you to handle this, Caitlin. Imagine telling Michael Jordan to stand in the corner during a crucial possession. It's an absurd proposition, yet that's precisely the strategy deployed against the league's most impactful rookie. It wasn't just taking the ball out of her hands, it was taking the game out of her hands. And the consequences? They were immediate and they were devastating. The impact of this decision was instantaneous and brutal. As the Liberty's traps tightened, the Fever's offense crumbled. The ball, once fluid, became a hot potato. Players struggled, hesitating, looking for an outlet that often wasn't there. Aaliyah Boston, a force inside, was forced into an uncomfortable role, leading to uncharacteristic turnovers. It felt like watching a car try to run on empty, rubbering, stalling, and eventually breaking down. The Liberty strategy wasn't complex, but it was relentless, and the Fever had no answer. More importantly, they were coached into having no answer. But what was the ultimate, humiliating outcome of this disastrous coaching decision?
And the result? Back-to-back Aaliyah Boston turnovers, throwing the ball away, fouling. The New York Liberty came out in the second half, and they proceeded to punk the Indiana Fever that entire second half.
The results were painfully predictable. Turnover after turnover, foul after foul. Aaliyah Boston, typically reliable, was suddenly a liability trying to bring the ball up. The energy, the momentum, the fight, it all evaporated. The speaker doesn't mince words. The Liberty didn't just beat the Fever, they pumped them. This wasn't a hard-fought defeat, it was a systematic dismantling, a psychological knockout. To be pumped implies a level of disrespect, of utter dominance where one team simply asserts its will without resistance. The second half wasn't a contest. It was an exhibition of New York's superiority and Indiana's utter collapse. This wasn't just a loss. It was a public shaming on a national stage. orchestrated by a coach who seemed determined to prove a point about everyone but her own superstar. This punking wasn't just a consequence of bad plays, it was a symptom of a deeper issue within the Fever's locker room and coaching staff. When a team gets demoralized to that extent, it's rarely just about a few bad shots or missed assignments. It speaks to a lack of leadership, a failure to instill confidence, and an inability to adjust in real time. The Liberty, on the other hand, played with a swagger, a belief in their system and each other. They sensed weakness, and they pounced. The contrast couldn't be starker. One team had a clear identity and executed it flawlessly. The other seemed lost at sea, drifting without a rudder. It makes you wonder, if the Liberty could sniff out the Fever's vulnerabilities so easily, why couldn't the Fever's own coaching staff see the train wreck coming? Or is it possible the Fever's coaching staff actively chose to sideline their biggest star, all to make other players feel good?
Let's let everybody else get off at the expense of Caitlin Clark. We're not going to run sets for her. We're not going to run plays for her. But what we are going to do, we're going to have her defer to everybody else. We're going to have Monique Billings have a breakout game today. We're going to leave Monique Billings in the longest she's ever played this year, and we're really going to make her feel good.
This revelation hits like a cold shower. The podcaster explicitly states the strategy. Let everybody else get off at the expense of Caitlin Clark. They weren't running plays for her. They were asking her to defer. This wasn't about strategy. It was about manufactured narratives. Giving Monique Billings extended minutes and making her feel good at Clark's expense is a damning indictment of coaching priorities. It suggests a focus on individual morale boosters over winning, and over maximizing the potential of their generational talent. What kind of coach prioritizes making a role player feel good over putting their best player in a position to dominate and win games? This isn't just poor coaching, it's a systemic failure to understand the fundamental dynamics of a successful basketball team. The WNBA isn't a charity league. It's a professional sport where wins matter, and Clark's talent is their clearest path to victory. The idea that a coach would intentionally suppress their most potent offensive weapon to boost the confidence of other players is bewildering, if not outright negligent. It's a strategy designed for a practice squad, not a high-stakes professional game. While team chemistry is vital, it should never come at the cost of winning, especially when you have a player like Caitlin Clark who can single-handedly change the trajectory of a game. This wasn't just about limiting Clark's shots, it was about fundamentally altering her role, transforming her into a passive observer rather than the dynamic play caller she's known to be. The message to Clark was clear: your impact isn't what we value most right now. Where Clark was sidelined, who was entrusted with the critical task of closing out the game, and how did that decision play out?
The announcers even said, oh, you gotta let Kelsey Mitchell close. You gotta let Kelsey Mitchell take you home. And Stephanie White either overheard them or she was planning on doing that anyway. And they let Kelsey Mitchell close. Ball in Kelsey Mitchell's hands. Kelsey, take us home. Do what you gotta do, close the game.
As the game tightened in the third and fourth quarters, the Fever's coaching staff made another baffling decision. With the game on the line, the ball wasn't put in Clark's hands. It was given to Kelsey Mitchell. The announcers, recognizing the gravity of the moment, even pointed it out, suggesting Mitchell take us home. Stephanie White apparently obliged, putting the ball squarely in Mitchell's hands. Meanwhile, Clark was relegated to chilling out in the corner, drifting behind the three-point line. This isn't just reducing Clark to a role player, it's actively making her a non-factor in the most crucial moments. It's a strategic miscalculation of epic proportions, especially when you consider Clark's history of delivering in clutch situations. The choice to ignore her at that moment wasn't just baffling, it was almost a deliberate disservice to her abilities. Kelsey Mitchell is a talented player, no doubt, but her track record in this particular game, and the context of Clark's presence, made this an incredibly risky gamble. And unfortunately for the Fever, it didn't pay off. While Clark, a known clutch performer and dynamic playmaker, stood inert, the game slipped further away. This decision wasn't just about who took the last shot. It was about who was deemed capable of controlling the tempo, creating opportunities, and elevating the entire team when it mattered most. By sidelining Clark in these critical moments, the Fever effectively amputated their most vital offensive limb. How truly passive was Caitlin Clark forced to become? And did she even fight back against this bewildering strategy?
While Caitlin Clark is chilling out in the corner. While Caitlin Clark is drifting behind the three-point line. Completely taken out of the play. Nobody has actual intentions to get her back in the game. So she's just, all right, I guess this is what we're doing.
This clip paints a stark, almost heartbreaking picture. Caitlin Clark, the player who electrifies arenas, was reduced to a spectator on the court, chilling out in the corner, drifting behind the three-point line, completely taken out of the play. The most damning part? Nobody has actual intentions to get her back in the game, so she's just alright. I guess this is what we're doing. This isn't just passive, it's resigned. It speaks to a player who has perhaps been told so many times to defer, to accept a diminished role, that she stopped fighting for the ball. This isn't the competitive fire we know from Clark. It's the frustration of a superstar suffocated by her own team's strategy. It begs the question, how much more can Clark endure before her unparalleled talent is completely stifled? The image of Clark, arguably the greatest offensive talent in women's basketball history, standing idly by as her team flounders, is a truly painful one for any fan. It's a testament to the suffocating coaching decisions that not only limited her physical involvement but seemed to chip away at her mental engagement. The frustration must be immense, not just for Clark, but for the entire fan base who came to see her brilliance unleashed. This isn't just about scoring, it's about leading, playmaking, and dictating the pace of the game. All elements that were systematically removed from her responsibilities. But if the Fever failed to adjust, what shocking new role did the coaching staff seem determined to cast Caitlin Clark in?
One team made adjustments, the other team made zero adjustments. The other team further committed to having Caitlin Clark be Sue Bird 2.0, off the ball, decoy, stand in the corner, don't bring the ball up when the team's pressing us.
While the Liberty made game-changing adjustments, the Fever did the exact opposite. Zero adjustments. Worse, they further committed to their flawed strategy. The comparison of Caitlin Clark to Sue Bird 2 off-the-ball decoy is scathing. Sue Bird was a legendary point guard, but her off-ball decoy phase came much later in her career, after decades of being the primary ball handler. To force this role onto a rookie like Clark, whose strength is creating with the ball, is a baffling misuse of talent. It screams of a coaching staff determined to fit a square peg into a round hole, to force a superstar into a system that clearly doesn't maximize her strengths. A directive to not bring the ball up when pressed is a white flag, signaling a complete lack of faith in her ability to handle pressure, despite ample evidence to the contrary. This decoy strategy doesn't just waste Clark's talent, it actively hinders the team. By placing her off ball and demanding she not bring it up, the Fever effectively removed their best playmaker from the equation during critical moments. It's a self-inflicted wound, a tactical own goal. This isn't a strategy for winning, it's a strategy for making a statement, perhaps to other players, perhaps to the media, but definitely not a statement of intent to dominate. The WNBA is a league of stars, and to consciously dim the brightest one is a decision that defies all logic. Rahuv, speaking of questionable priorities, how much did the Fever prioritize making one specific player feel good over actual on-court production?
Yeah, but out of everybody on this team, as far as the best power forward that we've had play this season, Monique Billings is probably 1A and Maisha Hines-Allen is probably 1B as far as actual production on the floor. But no, she's had a rough start to the season. You gotta feel good. Okay.
The podcaster's analysis of Monique Billings' playing time is absolutely brutal. While acknowledging Billings' potential, the emphasis here is on a coach prioritizing making her feel good over objective performance. The speaker contrasts Billings' perceived role with actual production, highlighting that others might have been more impactful. This isn't about Billings' talent, it's about the coaching staff's misguided allocation of minutes and resources. If a player is having a rough start, the solution isn't necessarily to force-feed them minutes at the expense of team success and other, more effective players. This kind of feel-good coaching might work in youth leagues, but in the cutthroat world of the WNBA, it's a recipe for disaster. Wins are the ultimate confidence booster, not manufactured playing time. This suggests a coaching philosophy detached from the harsh realities of professional competition. The narrative that a player needs to feel good implies a lack of accountability, a soft approach to professional sports where results should be paramount. While player welfare is important, it cannot overshadow the primary goal of winning games, especially when a team is struggling. This kind of preferential treatment for a struggling player, particularly at the expense of a generational talent like Clark, sends a confusing message to the rest of the roster and to the fans. It breeds an environment where performance isn't the sole determinant of playing time, which can quickly erode morale and team cohesion. If some players were overused, what about the truly effective players who were shockingly underutilized?
Then you got Lexi Hull playing 19 minutes, giving you a +5. And you got Sophie Cunningham coming off the bench, giving you a minus 18. Where do they do that at? Why isn't Lexi playing 30 minutes with the starters? The coaches on the bench are privy to all this information as the game's going on.
This clip is a mic drop moment on coaching incompetence. Lexi Hull delivers a 5± in 19 minutes, a clear indicator of positive impact, while Sophie Cunningham churns out a dismal 18 from the bench. The logical conclusion? Play Lexi Hull more. Yet the coach actively ignores this data, keeping Hull on the bench or giving her limited minutes. The exasperated question, why isn't Lexi playing 30 minutes with the starters, is entirely justified. The fact that coaches on the bench are privy to all this information makes the decision even more egregious. This isn't about blind luck. It's about actively disregarding concrete evidence in front of their faces. It's a baffling display of inflexibility, ignoring clear statistical indicators for reasons unknown, and costing the team valuable production. This selective blindness to objective data is a hallmark of poor coaching. It suggests a rigid adherence to pre-game plans or personal biases, rather than adapting to the actual flow and performance of the game. A coach's job is to put the best players on the court who are performing well and contributing positively. When you actively choose to bench a player with a strong plus-minus for someone with a significant negative impact, you are actively sabotaging your own team. This isn't just a minor error, it's a fundamental failure to manage personnel effectively. And it's not like the Fever are in a position to be experimenting like this. While the Fever were self-sabotaging, how did a true leader on the opposing team single-handedly flip the script when her team was down?